Hi everybody, and thank you for joining me for this video today. Today's video is a transformation of my walk-in closet. We've lived here in this house for about 2.5 years, and I was ecstatic when I found out that there was a walk-in closet, but it was about time to make some changes. I do not like the shelves. I like to have my clothes all hung up, so this is what this transformation is going to be, and to make it a little bit more my style. It's very DIY. I think the previous owners did this. It looks like they put this together, and the shelves are okay, but they're not really my style. So I started by taking all of my clothes out of the closet. So you can see the guest room here, which is where that closet is a disaster. It made me realize just how many clothes I have. And then we got to work taking down all the shelves, which actually I made my husband do. Then I did a good sweep because it was dusty in there. There was cobwebs. It was gross. I didn't like it. Then spackled all those holes where those previous shelves came out of. Do 2 layers of this if you're going to do this. Spackling is so satisfying to me. I just love doing it. I could do it all day. And like I said, you want to do 2 coats. I did them a few days apart because I wanted it to dry and I had some other obligations that weekend. So then this is how it looks with all of those holes filled up. Very nice, very satisfying. Love it. You do also want to sand this down so you have a smooth surface to paint over. I made my husband do that because I genuinely despise sandpaper. It's one of my sensory things. I just can't do it. So I had him do that, and I also had all these paint samples that I picked up to decide what color to do. I was looking at hopefully doing a grayish medium to dark purple, but stay tuned to see what I ended up picking. These swatches are Valspar, I think, but we ended up getting the paint from Builder's Best because my husband works for a Builder's Best franchise type. No, I don't know if it's a franchise, but he gets a little discount. So it's Builder's Best. It's the same color, almost. I just kind of picked the closest thing. So then I went ahead and took off that light switch cover and put the masking tape, painter's tape all around the bottom of the room, which was kind of funny because I end up always making a mess anyway, but it still helps. And then this is the color I went with. It'll look a little bit darker as it dries, but it's ended up being a lighter, muted pastel lilac type of color. And I really, really like it. My husband said, don't do it too dark because it'll be hard to see in there if it's really dark. And I was like, yeah, you're kind of right. At the same time, I don't think I would have minded if I went darker because I think the contrast behind the clothes would give it like that boutique feel. But I do like how this color came out. I did 1 coat one evening, and I totally tricked myself into thinking that only 1 coat would be needed. But once it was dry, it was clear that a second coat was needed, which you'll see in the next clip. If you are painting and you're taking time in between the coats, because I took a few days in between, go ahead and put your paintbrushes in a plastic bag or your roller in a plastic bag, and it keeps them from drying out so that you can use the same brushes again. It's so annoying to have to buy new brushes just because it dried out during the course of a project, just because you had gaps in between. So that's what I did. And then I went ahead and I went all around the corners, and then I did my second coat after that because I did the corners of the room and the top of the room super, super thick, 2 layers. And so I figured I'd just finish it out with the second coat, which made it a lot nicer. And then I started dreaming up what I was going to do for the mural. Kind of mural, just, I don't know if you can really call it a mural because it's so simple, but I wanted to do something artistic around the door. I had a few ideas, but ultimately I went with the vines. So this was so fun. I got into such a deep flow state doing this, and I picked a really nice purple color to contrast with the light purple. I think this took me a total of like 2.5 hours, but I was in such deep flow that it felt like 15 minutes went by, and it was really nice when it came out. I was really, really happy with it, so you'll see that in a minute as well. If you're planning on doing something like this, just give yourself the time to sketch it out. Even if you're freehanding like me, you do want to have a plan, or else you're going to end up having to paint over it, which is no fun. This was like a big joy for me. Big dopamine boost. big ADHD reward that I needed. And I just love how these purples go together. I also did this as something to add to my website as I'm trying to build somewhat of a mural portfolio so that I can get more mural work. So it had like a little twofer. I changed the light switch to a dark brown. I thought it looked better with the overall scheme, although the light switch itself doesn't match, but I really don't care. And then I went ahead and took out all my closet hardware and started taking that out of all the packaging. And the instructions were a little bit unclear, but we made it through. Don't forget, if you're doing something like this, to mark all your studs on your wall. We just got this handy dandy stud finder when we went to Builder's Best and used that. And then just the process of putting these things together, the instructions are very confusing. I actually had the ones that I'm putting together right here. You can see me putting together 2 of them. I ended up only using 1 because they just wouldn't align correctly. So I'm not going to be putting recommendations to these right in my bio or anything, or not my bio, the description. But if you do want the information, just let me know and I will give it to you. Pretty easy overall to put together by yourself. I didn't need anybody's help. I didn't need my husband to come help me. But again, the instructions are very limited. So you have to have a little bit of self-brain power to figure some things about it out. And then I decided not to be scared of the drill, and I installed all of this stuff myself, unlike the taking out of the shelves. So that's what you're going to see next. There's me fighting with the second one of those shelves. I was like, screw it. And then I just drilled it in, spot the ladybug at the top of the ceiling. Cute. Threw it all together. I went kind of like middle, side, and then middle, side again, just so it would be balanced against the wall. I don't know why. That's probably not a technical thing. It just seemed to make sense to me at the time while I was putting it together. And then this is what it looks like with all the hardware in. This was a big, huge joy moment for me as well. I do, as I said, have ADHD, so little things like this that are rewarding give me so much dopamine. And it was a very accomplished feeling. Then I had more things to take out of the packages. I got this mirror that lights up. It has 3 different light settings. I got this rug too, and it didn't fit perfectly, so I just kind of folded over the edge. I got a fake plant. I know, fake plant, evil, but they say seeing greenery is good for your mental health, and it is a room that we don't keep warm in the winter, so a real plant would have died anyway. A real plant would have died regardless because I have a black thumb and I kill everything. And then I also put together this beautiful shoe rack, which helped me hold down the rug. And this is me testing out the mirror. This is what everything looks like put together in the room. And this is when I started getting really excited because I knew I could put everything away now. And I was like, oh, finally, it's happening. And here is that mirror. It has a little touchscreen button, and it goes between like cool light, warm light, and then a combo. And then was the final moment to start putting my things away. Made me so excited. And then I realized just how many damn clothes and shoes that I own. I'm a collector. I'll use that as my excuse. But I probably should pine through some of this stuff. And then I decided I'll show you when it's done. And here it is. It's not organized all the way to perfection as I want it to be, but I did organize it by garment types and things like that. I plan to do a little bit more. My purses aren't in here yet or anything like that, but I do think this way of organizing it will make it so much easier to see everything and plan my outfits out and stay organized and clean. So yeah, this is how it turned out, and I hope you like it. And thank you so much for watching this video.